Islam, Moors, peace, love, and hotep. We are here once again for our Tuesday session, Canaanland Moors class. We want to give honors to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to you all. We want to give honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We want to give honors to all active Moors, all newly conscious Moors, and all of the Moorish elders who've been putting it down in the correct way so that our people can know the truth about their nationality and their birthrights and not be participants, willful participants in insurgency. There was a lot of work that was done. There was a lot of work that was done to make sure that this information that we have does not get to the masses of the people. When Noble Drew Ali got assassinated, the program after his assassination was to cause confusion, to have people think that anything Noble Drew Ali was connected to was some black stuff, some black whatever. And truth be told, we've destroyed a lot of those rumors, active Moors, Elder Moors, 720 degree Moors, Great Seal Moors. We've done a lot. We put out so much information over the past 10, 15 years as a body of Moors that have information. We put out so much information that it's beginning to catch up to the people, right? Because remember, when they say in track, when you lap people, as far as this information, we've been lapping people, right? We've been passing them on the track, and pass them on the track, and then pass them on the track while they're staying in their stagnancy of being Negro, black, colored, and nothing happening for them. They get a meeting with a mayor, they're happy. They get, they burn down a city, they're happy. They get some governmental corporate agent to talk on their behalf, they're happy. But when you look around, you see the conditions the same. Nothing changing. It's the same stuff going on. Matter of fact, things getting worse. But it's only going to be worse for those ones that are expendable. It's not going to be worse across the board for everybody. It's only going to be worse for those who don't honor their foremothers and forefathers. It's only going to be worse for those who take the position of trying to make Moors conscious, competent, active, faithful, loyal Moors look like we don't know what we're talking about, but the people who call themselves colors and continents and whatever else, they know what they're talking about. And anybody who gets down with that Anybody who sides with the people against the Moors are just against the Moors. I don't care if you have Moor t-shirt on and all that stuff. You know, that doesn't mean anything. So today we're gonna put some things out there, as usual, inspire the family to take whatever you get here and add on to it 300 times for your own improvement. Like one of the good Moors said, eat the fish, spit out the bones. So, first thing, you can look this up online just to stress the fact that we're living in a patriarchal, no respect for the feminine principle age era right now, when it's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be supreme honors to the feminine principle right now. Only 22% of parks named for women. There are 292 parks with names derived from men, compared to only 82 parks for women. It speaks to how the naming policy needs to change. There is still a long history of thinking that you made a contribution to the community if you're the man. That's wrong. That needs to change. Right? And then they're going to do some extraordinary, to say that it's not hard to find extraordinary women. Right? Now what they really should do is all those parks that are so-called males, you know, let's check the record and see if those men qualify to even have a park. Because half these people that got names for stuff, they got statues, they got whatever, guarantee out of those what was it, out of those 800 parks, out of those 200 parks, majority of those people, their history is based in criminality. And they gave them a park because of how, you know, good they were, governmental, whatever, you know, keeping this corpse alive, you know, and they were just giving them their props. Another thing we want to address, study deems city most diverse. Study deems city most diverse, meaning Toronto. And they're coming out with this, they did a study or whatever. London's mayor, Sadiq Khan, I think that's the first Muslim mayor in London or something like that. Mayor said that, you know, his city, London, was so diverse, and, you know what I mean, tooting his horn, being, you know, this, it just proves how multicultural it is, because there's a Muslim mayor and all that stuff. Well, BBC Radio crunched the numbers and declared Toronto the world's most multicultural Mecca. According to the study, 51% of Toronto's population is foreign-born, and some 230 different nationalities call the city home. Nationalities. Remember, like we always tell people, when they talk about certain stuff, know that they're talking to Moors. We're not talking to Negro black colored people out here, because Negro black colored people out here, they're like Negro black colored people anywhere. They're insurgents. Let them do their march, picket, lie in the street thing. That's not going to go on too much longer. because these people have their plan in place since 1969 that as soon as race riot kicks off, they're implementing their plan. So if people could think that they got gun clubs and stuff like that, they're going to be doing something. They're not going to be doing anything, right? It is part of our branding and legacy, she said, noting Toronto and Canada at large has been diversifying its population since the Second World War. We haven't put up those walls that politicians in other countries are talking about these days. It's historically been difficult to declare one city the most diverse. For example, over 80% of Dubai's population is foreign born, but the total number of countries where those residents hail from is quite low. You look at Toronto, it's quite a youthful city. So diversity really keeps your population young, and it's a boom to our economy. And then they got little pictures of, you know, the Aboriginal History Month and the annual turban festival that they have here when the Sikhs come out, and then they tie people's turban and stuff like that. But just wanted to put that out just so people could recognize that we've been telling people for however long we've been telling people that where we're at, we have the access to multiple nationalities, who all of them, when we dress like ourselves, they know who we are, and they want to come up and take pictures, and they want to try our fezzes on, and they want to have a conversation because they're seeing something over here that they see or saw in their homeland, and them seeing it here makes them feel right at home. Want to say peace to my co-host Mizraim Aleph El, Sons of Allah. He sent me this article, and this is just to put on the Moors' minds so we can really take into consideration the effect. We can take into consideration the effect that we have, the effect that we have, right? The latest hotshot lawyer at the law firm Baker Hostetler never passed the bar exam or even attended law school, but the firm still trusts their newest hire, Ross, to help with its bankruptcy practice. That's because Ross isn't a flesh and blood lawyer at all. Rather, it is the world's first artificially intelligent attorney. Futurism reports that Ross, the robot lawyer, was built on IBM's cognitive computer, Watson, and functions like a legal assistant who has memorized nearly every case in legal history. Ross is a digital legal expert that helps you power through your legal research, the website explains. Can you ask your questions in plain English as you would a colleague? And Ross then reads through the entire body of law and returns a cited answer and topical readings from legislation, case law, and secondary sources to get up to the speed quickly. In addition, Ross monitors the law around the clock to notify you of new court decisions that can affect your case. Baker Hostetler is the first law firm to sign a license with Ross, but according to Futurism, other firms are expected to announce licenses with Ross soon. Ross's great strength may be its ability to rapidly research cases. The body of legal literature is so vast. Researching cases has historically been immensely time-consuming, but Ross has another special talent: translating complex concepts and convoluting legal language into conversational English. Baker Hostetler, CEO, Andrew Arruda, tells Futurism he has high hopes for us and is open to hiring even more artificially intelligent lawyers in the future. At Baker Stetler, we believe that emerging technologies like cognitive computing and other forms of machine learning can help enhance the services we deliver to our clients. He explained, we are proud to partner with a true leader in the industry as we continue to develop additional AI legal assistance. So just keep in your mind Minority Report, Star Trek, Terminator, and all these stuff that, the stuff wasn't no movie. They were really letting people know what's about to come, and it's not coming anymore, it's here. So better get your study on, because I seen one man beat a computer at chess. Everybody else got their ass kicked. So they're talking about they got AI lawyers and stuff like that. Then we better get your study on and be competent, like we've been telling people that they need to be competent. Because they're doing that stuff because of Moors. People say whatever that they want, technology, blah, blah. Whatever, I ain't hearing it. They're doing that because of Moors. Because these dumbass lawyers that they got now can't even handle the Moors. And the only way they can handle the Moors is if they deal with color of law, color of authority, color of office, and assumed jurisdiction. That's the only way that they win. Oh yeah, and fraud. Oh yeah, and coercion and duress and threats. Oh yeah, and being psychopathically, constitutionally inferior. That's the only way that they win with Moors. Because we have them beat. Just by putting down our nationality card, they're beat. But they can't get beat that easy. Which is why our prophet told us that you want some type of response from this European. Oh no, not the intelligent tone part. That they're going to have to look death in the face in order to give you something that you claim, you got claim to. Right? Especially if you're these Moors in these areas, just them and all that stuff. These people are going to fight you harder than they fight anybody else. Because if one wakes up, then he has the potential to wake up all. Another thing that went down, which was interesting, Oklahoma City Thunder big man Steven Adams played a crucial role in the team's 108-102 victory over the Golden State Warriors, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals on Monday, but he found himself embroiled in a controversy after the contest. Adams used a regrettable choice of words when describing Golden State's backcourt in a post-game interview with ESPN's Chris Broussard. Adams explains that he was just trying to... on Klay Thompson, 25 points, and Stephen Curry, 26 points, Adams said, "They're quick little monkeys, those guys." They're quick little monkeys, those guys. Adams explains that he was just trying to express how difficult it was chasing those guys around. He says he did not know it was going to upset anyone and is truly sorry. He says he's still getting used to different words and expressions and trying to figure out the boundaries, but adds that he definitely overstepped them. Adams' mother is Tongan, and his father, Sid, was an Englishman who settled in New Zealand after serving in the Royal Navy. Adams is the youngest of Sid's 18 children with 5 different women. His siblings and half-siblings are notable for their exceptional size and athletic prowess. His brothers average 6'9" and his sisters average 6 feet. His sister Valerie Adams is a double Olympic gold medalist and 4-time world champion shot putter. And brother Sid Adams Jr. is a New Zealand NBL player. Adams has identified his father's death in 2006 as one of the defining events in his life. In a 2012 interview, Adam recalls, "When I lost my dad, that was a big hit for me. I didn't have that parental guidance, and that kind of took advantage of it because I was a stupid idiot. I decided not to go to school a couple times, go when I felt like it. I always lied to my brothers and sisters. They'd asked, 'Are you going to school?' I'd say, 'Yeah.' They eventually found out. One of his brothers stepped in to fill the gap, rescuing him from the streets, blah, blah, blah." The reason why we brought him up is that he's calling people monkeys and stuff. People, the black guys gonna be on there. "Oh, you can't say that. Why are you saying that?" and all that stuff, right? So his mom's Tongan, so that's where Tonga is, as far as the world's concerned, right? See over there, China up there, see a Mexam right there that they classify as USA, and then Australia, and then Tonga is right in the middle there, right? Now, he could have used any term. I mean, you ever try chase a chicken? Never tried to chase a chicken. Chickens are hard to catch. You ever try catch a lizard? Iguana? Iguanas, those are hard to catch. And especially being from New Zealand, I'm sure that there's multiple animals that he can figure, hard to catch for whatever reason, you know what I mean? But he chose to use the term monkeys for these individuals, right? Now, the reason why we brought him up is because his mom is Tongan. His mom is Tongan. His dad is a Englishman. So we know nationality is through the mother. So he has a certain degree of knowledge, even though he looks like Paleolith. He looks like, he's European. His mom's Tongan. So that means he's Tongan. So doing some research, and I found out that the king of Tonga in the 1800s was this man, the king of Tonga. So the king of Tonga, and then you got, the Amazite beard, mustache stuff going on, right? Ancient stuff. It's 1800s. It's not too ancient, but it's way before us. And clearly, he's not Paleolith. Clearly, he's not European, nothing like that. So, the people of Tonga are dark-skinned people. This is their king in the 1800s. So, doing a little bit more research, just trying to, find proof so we can say that these people are Moors, because we already know that Moors are any dark-skinned people, but especially the African Negro. But any dark-skinned people are Moors. So the king of Tonga is a Moor, but he doesn't have a nationality card. He didn't go to Moor Science Temple. Oh, that means nothing. He doesn't need that to be a Moor, because it's a birthright, and clearly he's dark-skinned, so he qualifies as a Moor. And hunted, they didn't have any kings of Tonga or kings of Tonga wearing their fez like, the Hawaii leaders and all that. So usually, as usual, when we're doing our studying and you are studying cultures, go into the mainland. Don't study the people who are supposedly the heads, the rulers, whatever. Go into the mainland. So I go into the mainland of Tonga. Right? Tonga natives. And then they had this one up there. Now we already know that the so-called dunce cap is a variation of the fez. Being that these Pacific Islanders, the natives of Tonga, are highly intelligent if you do your research on them and their culture and stuff that they've done there. We can now say that these people are Moors with no apologies. Right? It's now qualified because only Moors wear fezzes. Only Moors wear cone fezzes, and Moors are the Aboriginal and indigenous people of the world. It's a theme with our people. Fezzes and turbans. It's a theme with Moors. So just to make sure that I wasn't tripping, went to check out Aborigines. Just what's out there. If I just put Aborigines in the Google search, what's gonna come up or whatever. And then up came the Aborigines of Taiwan. So you can take a look at them. And you can see some things that they're wearing that do appear to look very Moorish. And again, these are dark-skinned people. So we know that we can say they are Moors. They're dark-skinned people. They're dressed like Aboriginal indigenous people. So we can say that they're Moors. And just like them, right? This is a birthright. Does this look like somebody sold them a nationality card? Does this look like somebody gave them some papers to be who they are? No, this is their birthright. This is their culture. This is who they are. This is them honoring their foremothers and forefathers. So if they can honor their foremothers and forefathers and give our people the looks like her, wondering when these Negroes are gonna come and join the human family, right? Hand under the chin and all that stuff. But remember, our people are expendable. Our people are insurgents. So we really don't expect too much from them. We don't expect their tune to change. They are going to be who they are. They are going to play the game like somebody owes them, and they're being violated all the time. So if the people in Taiwan could know who they are, then there's no excuse for our people. And if they want to make up excuses, like the Moors, who are, fed up with the whole thing, like the quote, let the dead bury the dead and carry on. Don't let them stress you out with their not wanting to get this, have you feeling guilty and stuff like that. I'm going to take a little excerpt from You Know Something Is Wrong When, an American Affidavit of Probable Cause by Anna Maria Reisinger and James Clinton Belcher. And this is page 193. About your rulership. There seems to be a need for new answers, even if those new answers are very old answers. The Bible and the Hindu Vedas and the American Indian wisdom tradition all tell us that it is our purpose in life to find truth and take care of the planet. Should it surprise us that when we do other things we are unhappy and alienated and unfulfilled? In our heart of hearts, we know what we should be doing and how we should be living, and aren't. We need to change that. We cannot own land. We come from the land, and we return to it. All pretensions otherwise, whether individual or corporate, are merely lies. At most, we have the right to enjoy the fruits of our own labors and those homes and other improvements we make for ourselves and our heirs. In the same way, we cannot claim to be better than anyone else on account of strength or wealth or religion or creed or color or sex or age or beauty or occupation. There are many flowers in the garden. Who is to say that the king is any better or any happier than his housekeeper? That the work of the man who cleans the toilets is any less important than that of an astronaut? Then too, who knows the mystery of our individual souls? Each one of us has our hand-tailored blessings and our individual grief and our own lessons to learn. Key point. Remember, this is Europeans talking. Each one of us has our hand-tailored blessings and our individual grief and our own lessons to learn. So this is why we tell Moors that not because that guy filed some papers, went to court, said, hey judge, you don't have any jurisdiction over me and whatever like that, case dismissed, means that you're going to go in there and, yo judge, because every one of us has our hand-tailored blessings. Every one of us has our specific personal blessings that are only going to come to us. But we also have our own individual grief that is only going to come to us, and our own lessons to learn. That's why we tell people that when they learn a lesson with regard to Moorish science, Moorish history, Moorish law, Moorish customs, send an email with your testimonial so we can use your individual grief or blessings or lessons to show some other people that they can meet the same fate. But the only way that this is going to be beneficial is if the individual knows about their selves, their higher self and their lower self. If the individual does not know his higher self and his lower self, they're going to miss the blessings. They're going to miss the blessings. They're going to be completely absorbed in the grief and then learn no lessons. And as a man thinketh, as a woman thinketh, so is he, so is she. So if you're being consumed by your individual grief that you shouldn't be consumed about, because you should have had blessings to counteract the grief, and if you were in your higher self, you would realize what those blessings were and not be stressed out about anything because you just got some blessings. What is there to be stressed out about? Well, I just crashed my... Oh, well, you walked away from the crash, so what's the problem? Well, no, I got to take the bus. So you rather have been going to the rec yard with your car? Right? Priorities need to be in order, especially with us. Moors I'm talking about, not Negro, black, colored people. Priorities need to be in order. The sooner we learn to recognize our own blessings and stop chasing after or stealing or simply retaining through ignorance those blessings that belong to others, the happier we will be and the happier our planet will be. All this is the obligation of Moors coming into the truth of their nationality and birthrights. The sooner we, Moors, Moorish Americans, learn to recognize our own blessings. We got flag that nobody ever said that we can't use. We have nationality that nobody could ever say that we can't use. We have national headwear, turban and fez, that nobody could ever say that we can't wear. We have a prophet that nobody can ever say didn't get sent to us by Allah. We have a religion, Islamism, that nobody can ever say is not from the olden times. We have 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, which nobody can say ever that everybody's not down with those principles. We have free national name: El, Bay, Day, Al, and Ali. The 5 civilized tribes that everybody knows is us. We have an estate. So the sooner we learn to recognize our own blessings and stop chasing after, so the so-called slaves chasing after Liberia, like that's their stuff, when there's a colony there. Liberia is not theirs. The colony of Liberia is theirs, but Liberia as a whole is not theirs. Right? Rastafarians, they want to run back to Ethiopia and stuff. Ethiopia is the motherland. We want to go back to it, right? Chasing after, or stealing, or simply retaining through ignorance those blessings that belong to others. So-called conscious people that know that conscious only means awake. Yeah. A dog could be conscious. A bird could be conscious. Anything that could be awake could be conscious. And they're not changing their tune. They're still trying to chase after, steal, or simply retain through their own ignorance things that they shouldn't even be even thinking about retaining. If something isn't yours, give it away. If something isn't yours, give it away. If something isn't yours, slave names that you got, birth certificate, people are telling you to claim that, authenticate that, whatever. If something isn't yours, give it away. Set it free, because only then will your hands be free to grasp the blessings that are yours and which will give you lasting joy. Only then, when you give away the stuff that you have that's not yours, only then will your hands be free to grasp the blessings that are yours and which will give you lasting joy. Not pseudo joy, sometimes joy, lasting joy. Lasting. And keep in mind, these are Europeans. Who other Europeans are going to get this, and then they're going to immediately realize, because they have a nationality, they're immediately going to realize, oh, this book is a blessing. Hey, how many books do I have that aren't mine? We'll just go give those away so I can get some more stuff. Because it's a science. But they have a nationality, so they're going to realize that. And it has nothing to do with, oh, the melanin, the darker you are, the more spiritually in tune you are with the... No, because I know some dark people that are dumb as doornails. So forget about melanin and that being the superconductor or intelligence and stupid stuff like that. Nationality is a superconductor of intelligence. If you have a nationality, then you have foremothers and forefathers. If you have foremothers and forefathers, then they left you some type of track record of all the magnificent things that they did that you're supposed to emulate if you come from them. You know, because we have melanin makes us superior beings. We already read that. That's not even supposed to be in your mindset. As soon as that goes in your mindset, you just gave yourself a hex. Or you just, you know, or that's just a little piece of paper. That's not going to do nothing. You don't throw it in a receptacle. You don't throw it in the garbage. You throw it on the ground or whatever. Oh, that ain't nothing. That'll just blow away or whatever. All right. You just gave yourself some more stuff that you're going to have to deal with. That when it comes, you're not even going to know what the hell went down, because European bin told you. European bin said, donations in support may be sent care of Post Office Box 520994, Big Lake, Alaska, zip code exempt. What can you do with this book? You can change the world. Give copies to bureaucrats, local, state, and federal. Remind them who they really work for. The European. But then you talk to some Moors, and they're going to tell you $80 for their book that they got. $90. Oh, $60 because, you know, we got to fund the stuff. And then Europeans giving stuff away for free. Telling you, get it and copy it for everybody. But then, you know, you get a Moors DVD, and then you say, oh, yo, this is gonna blow up. Make some copies. Oh, this cannot be copied. And Moors got copy protection stuff on their discs. And dirty Moors do it too. You know, but information is supposed to be given to people, especially people who are less fortunate and don't have access to it. You know, you start saying, you know, that's why we go at the Moors that try to sell people's birthright to them. You know, this is not to be sold. Yeah, you can get it at expense, but it's not supposed to be some crazy, you know what I mean? It's like we were looking up, Brother Bakari called me today because he's looking for Golden Age of the Moor by Ivan van Sertima, and that shit is online for 300 for Golden Age of the Moor by Ivan van Sertima. Why is it like that? Because he's deceased, he's passed away, he's in the ancestral. Oh no, it's not because he's deceased, passed away, nothing. Because it's about the Moors. That's why it's 300. And we told all you people when he passed away to go get all his books. Then, now, suffering. We told people go get the books then. Don't let these people, print and press people, jack the stuff. Go buy all the stuff. Yeah, we'll wait. We'll get it later. Now, it's 300 now. Good luck. But, you know, luckily, we have the man out here, you know, Nile Valley Bookstore, who the brother is a Muslim and has done lectures out here on Moors, on the history of the Moors, etc. Right? And he's in direct contact with Ivan van Sertima's wife, who publishes the book, so we should be able to get the book for under 300. Right? But, you know, that's how it goes with Moors, like we're talking about the blessings. You know, because no Shakir is my blessing. You know what I mean? Not nobody else's blessing. But, you know, I've been blessed so much, I could give away some of my blessings to other people who are, you know, less fortunate and need some blessings. You know what I mean? So, you know, all in all, it was a good little conversation, 10 minutes or something like that. But the brothers got to build, you know what I mean? And Brother Nosha Carey, the founder, owner of Nile Valley Bookstore, you know what I mean? We're all from the same island, you know? So it was even a greater connect for Brother Bakari and him, because they were on the phone like they knew each other before the phone call, because that's just how it goes down in the islands, right? So anything that you have that's not yours, set it free so you can open up the gateway so you can receive some blessings, right? Because you can't give and don't expect to receive. You can't give and think nothing's coming. The whole point of giving is to make sure that you give abundantly so stuff could come back. Even if it's a pea, and you gave a mountain, at least you got a pea. You could have got nothing. If you don't use a tool, give it to someone who will. Those jewels you hoarded away in a dark box, what good are they, and what joy can they bring if they never see the light of day? The song in your heart that you stifle because you think it is not good enough, sing it anyway. Artists are like songbirds. If you have it left in you to see the beauty or ears left to hear the song, then you are not dead and never will be. Open your eyes, look around, take a deep breath. Who is in control of your world if you're not? When you see the orphans or the homeless animals or the ruined farm fields, it's not somebody else's problem, it's yours. When you see criminals preying upon the helpless and the innocent, it's not someone else's responsibility to stop them, it's yours. Don't ever think that you can't do whatever you need to do to change your own life or to change the world. Don't ever think that you can't do whatever you need to do to change your own life or to change the world. Each one of you are literally kings and queens. It's only because you have abdicated your own throne that the world is the sorry, disjointed, unfair, and ugly place that it is. It is up to you to make other choices and dream other dreams. And then they say on page 195, since each one of you are literally kings and queens, they say a crown for every occasion. Remember, this is Europeans. A crown for every occasion. A crown for every occasion. They got the nigger crown in there, the baseball hat. They got Egyptian stuff in there. They got fedora in there, cowboy hat. And then they have your stuff, which lets you know that they know, because they could have put some Masonic whatever with writing on it and all that, but they didn't put that in there. They put the red fez, clean. They put the red fez clean, because they're trying to tell you something. And it's up to you if you're open enough to see that you're being told the truth. This for all the Moors who like to talk about, no, Jolly didn't bring sovereignty. These Moors telling you sovereignty, they're running a fraud and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Just tell all those guys, STFU, right? FOH. Just in case you have any doubts, here's what the Supreme Court says about your sovereignty. Remember, the page right before this. All right? Page right before this. Your sovereignty. First Amendment rights are indeed fundamental, for we the people are the sovereigns, not those who sit in the seats of the mighty. Broderick versus State of Oklahoma, 1973. Broderick, B-R-O-A-D-R-I-C-K, versus State of Oklahoma, 1973. Sovereigns are equal. It is the duty of a sovereign not to submit his rights to the decision of a co-sovereign. He is the sole arbiter of his own rights. He acknowledges no superior but God alone. To his equals, he shows respect but not submission. The Schooner Exchange versus McFadden, 1812. The Schooner Exchange, SCHOONER Exchange versus McFadden, MCFADDON, 1812. Sovereignty itself is, of course, not subject to law, for it is the author and source of law. But in our system, while sovereign powers are delegated to the agencies of government, sovereignty itself remains with the people, by whom and for whom all governments exist and acts. Downes versus Bidwell, 1901. DOWNES versus Bidwell, BIDWELL. Sovereignty itself is, of course, not subject to law, for it is the author and source of law. Did Noble Drew Ali tell Moors that they have the power to make law? Doesn't author mean making? And sovereignty is the author and source of law. And Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, Grand Sheikh Chairman is in power to make law. Doesn't that mean that they're exercising sovereignty? But I thought Noble Drew Ali didn't teach sovereignty. If Noble Drew Ali didn't teach sovereignty, then how come the Grand Sheikh and the Chairman are in power to author and be the source of law? People lying to people, trying to get you to give up your birthright. To them, remember, we're not talking about sovereign citizens. We're not talking about sovereign paperwork. We're talking about sovereignty. We're not talking about sovereign powers. We're talking about sovereignty. Sovereignty. Sovereign powers are delegated to the agencies of government, but sovereignty itself remains with the people. Sovereignty itself remains with the people. We acknowledge that the immunity of a truly independent sovereign from suit in its own courts has been enjoyed as a matter of absolute right for centuries. Only the sovereign's own consent could qualify the absolute character of that immunity. That the notion that immunity from suit is an attribute of sovereignty is reflected in our cases, and that this attribute of sovereignty and that this explanation adequately supports the conclusion that no sovereign may be sued in its own courts without its consent. This is why they got rid of the consular courts. Because if you go to consular court, you can't be sued there. Because the consular court is the court of the consuls, or the authors of the laws, not foreigners. Not foreigners. The actual legitimate governmental positions that are supposed to be held by all the Aboriginal and Indigenous people. because we're our own government. We're our own jurisdiction. We don't need to be part of those people's stuff. We had everything, but like we always say, don't get mad at the European. Get mad at dirty Moors. Because they're the ones that make you have nothing right now. They're the ones why you suffer. And they're still around today, like we told people. Just go get the FBI papers. Everybody's name's in there. Yeah, there's some, you know what I mean, stuff scratched out, but you can put one and one together and figure out who's who in the FBI papers that sold out. Because it's blatantly obvious who sold out, who caused this stuff that we're going through. Right? Remember, this is European. So you are sovereign, and the Supreme Court agrees. Just be aware, you can't be sovereign and a citizen at the same time. Where she learned that from? Who's she studying? Because she's European. Who's she studying to know that you can't be sovereign and a citizen at the same time? That's a quote from somebody that we consider master teacher. That's an actual quote from somebody. You can't be sovereign and citizen at the same time. The term sovereign citizen is an oxymoron. Those who use this label are either ignorant or insulting, and you are neither one. Final note. Remember that 99% of the people involved in this kingdom of lies never knew what they were doing or why. Never knew that they were doing anything wrong. Inform them. Hold them accountable for what they do after this information is given to them. And do your best to forgive them, for they know not what they do. You know something's wrong when some goddamn Europeans telling more stuff than these so-called Negro, black, colored bastards trying to convince people about they're not Moors. They call them all this stuff. But when it comes to Moors, oh, they're not that. They're everything else. Right? They're everything else. Playing around with people. So we got a couple emails. We got a couple emails. And we'll just hit those up. We shall hit those up. First email. Oh, so this YouTube troll guy. So remember, where the hell is this thing? Remember, just be aware, you can't be sovereign and citizen at the same time. The term sovereign citizen is an oxymoron. Those who use this label are either ignorant or insulting. All right? So we have this YouTube troll right now by the name of Bobby Velo. And Bobby Velo is one of those trolls that always coming back, never follow instructions, always coming back, talking stuff. So we just want to put his stuff out there that he's talking, so people can use it as a reference point to know when you're being engaged by a troll, because they have a certain condescending tone that they speak with to try to convince you that your nationality and birthrights is not what it's about. You should be about something else. Whatever that is, whatever. But the point is, you're not supposed to be on what you're on. You're wrong. You have to prove something to them in order to justify your claim or whatever. Don't listen to them. You just keep studying. You keep doing what you're supposed to do, and do not be discouraged, because like Noble Drew Ali said, they are trying every weak mind right now to overthrow the true foundation. So if you're saying that you're Moorish American or whatever, then your mind better be strong. Your mind better be strong, because they're about to stick stuff under your fingernails. They're about to cut your toes off to get you to say, I'm black. Forget all the, whip you and stuff like that, Toby and all that, and make you say your name's Toby. They're not going there. They're going to be jabbing stuff under your fingernails. Right? You Moorish American? You honor your foremothers and forefathers? Okay. They're about to run Inquisition. How are you going to deal with it? They're about to do 2016 Inquisition, because they realize that the Moors are waking up. And the last time, that's how they stopped the Moors, the Inquisition. So, all right, we're going to do Inquisition again. You prepared to not give up your claim to authority, regardless of what these people do, even if they kill you? Or you're going to compromise and go back to the state where Noble Drew Ali found you? Thank you for the name fame, but basically what I've been doing is following an assignment on the mental and chemical faculties of religious groups, relative, militia, and sovereign citizen groups. Right? You already know, people who use that term, they're insulting and incompetent, because they're insulting themselves by using that stupid ass term. Right? My professor decided to choose Moorish Americans due to their following of Islam and interrelating to sovereign citizen activity, alongside the continuous presentations of documents thereof that dismantle political jargon used by religious groups that continuously fail in society, court, and the likes, but continue to believe their sensationalism. The psychosis behind your replies, alongside your group's replies, is showing my studies and observations alongside European groups similar to yours to fall into place with your mental faculties that complicit with certain chemical imbalances within one like yourself. When the research is complete, I'll be glad to submit it to you. If you are ever in Philadelphia, please come to UPenn and have a sit down with myself and psychology students, and we can discuss in person your mind state on Moorish affairs and Islam. I have gathered over 300 court cases involving Moors in court, and the pattern of thought, behavior, and mental state that we are comparing to with Timothy McVeigh neurological tests. Your group was selected due to inconsistencies and questionable, notable mental patterns. Please send me your inbox again and I would be glad to discuss further and invite you to our research study group here at UPenn. Right? So, to counter that, we'll read this email from Brother Devon L. Since our group has these mental imbalances, and we don't know what we're talking about basically, because we've been following the likes of Timothy McVeigh, and our biometric reading is the same as his because he's sovereign citizen and he was against governmental whatever like that, and we're standing up for birthrights and we're against governmental stuff. Let's just see what Brother L has to bring to the equation, because clearly they've gone with researching 300 cases of Moors that's been to court, that cases are compromised, because there's no court case you're going to find of Moors winning, because like we discussed, all those get dismissed. So you're not going to find any court cases where Moors won, because those don't exist, because those get wiped from the record. That's why they dismiss them, so they don't have to put them on the record. And exactly what this individual is doing with his UPenn professor and all that stuff, they got 300 cases of Moors in court that they're going to use for their case study BS that they're doing, right? Devon Robinson L. I recently just got my Fez and I wanted to share my experiences. The day I purchased it, I wore it and decided to go to Target. When I entered the store, I could feel the looks from people who were intrigued by the headdress. I got my items and proceeded to check out. Once I got to the register and the sister rang me out and told me my total, I informed her that I was tax exempt and showed her my nationality card. She had that look of confusion and I could tell this was her first encounter with a Moor. She told me that I needed a tax ID number, and I calmly and patiently informed her that I did not and my nationality card would be sufficient. She began to become frustrated, and to avoid any confrontation, I asked for the manager. Her response was, "I'm the manager." Another cashier heard our dialogue and informed her that I indeed was correct, and proceeded to tell her that they have cards that they don't need tax ID numbers. At this time, another employee came to assist me and got my items, and we proceeded to another register where she checked me out and asked for my nationality card. After she finished, my total reflected the taxes was being taken off. She told me that I wouldn't have this issue again. I thanked her and proceeded to exit the store. I could still feel the other patrons watching what had taken place as they looked in amazement. Since that day, I've been to Target on 2 different occasions where I haven't had any issues. I've also been to other corporations and exercised this same thing. I've posted my receipts on Facebook for people to see the proof. For those that may have doubts about nationality being the order of the day and the solution to our present condition, take it from me, it works. I will admit that I was nervous, but I stood firm on what I know and did not become discouraged because the sister was misinformed. I stood on my square and exercised my nationality and birthright. I want to give honors to Grand Sheikh Kudro and Brother Amazite and other active Moors for being beacons of light and being examples of what being an active Moor is truly about. Since then, I've had countless people inboxing me, asking me questions about the Moors and nationality. I can truly say that when we remove the fear and operate in honor, things just start happening. For those who are still on the fence or have doubts and questions, my advice to you is study, 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 and read the information yourself. Once you begin to connect the dots, things will start to become clear. Peace and love, brother Devon L. Right? And like we've stated on numerous occasions, that those tribunals, those buildings that people go to and say, well, we're not going to go with what you're saying until you go to court and show me in front of a judge that this works and all this type of stuff. Those people are stupid. Those people are incompetent. Those people do not study, because if they studied, they would know what a court is. And they wouldn't even have any questions. But they want to play like, because they go to University of Penn, they got, access to the records, and they got all these court cases that they're going to use to prove that the Moors have mental imbalances and they're on the level of Timothy McVeigh and all this type of stuff. Court. This is a law dictionary, mind you. Court. A space which is uncovered, but which may be partly or wholly enclosed by buildings or walls. When used in connection with a street, indicates a short street, blind alley, or open space like a short street enclosed by dwellings or other buildings facing thereon. That's a court. So like we tell people, court is outside. Court is not these buildings where there's 4 walls and a roof. That's not a court. That's an administrative building. A court is a blind alley, open space like a short street enclosed by dwellings or other buildings facing thereon. A space which is uncovered, but which may be partly or wholly enclosed by buildings or walls. That's court. So anybody telling you about, show me in court that this, show me in court that this, recognize that those people are incompetent. And pray that when you're having this conversation with them, that you're outside in an alley, so you can demonstrate what court is to them. Right? Because they're going to play their little games. Right? They're going to play their little games. And the whole point is to get Moors who are on this information, right? Moors who are on this information to yield. Don't yield. Especially if you're not, these Negro, black, color people going to do nothing to you or whatever if you stand up on your birthrights to them. They're not going to do nothing. They're cowards. They're not going to fight you down. They're not going to beat you up because you're standing on birthrights and you're challenging them. They're cowards. Because if they weren't cowards, they would have a nationality. If they weren't cowards, they wouldn't be, getting punked off by highwaymen in their so-called status as black, Negro, or whatever like that, and just film them and not kill a cracker. So that's their stuff, kill crackers. None of these guys ever killed a cracker. They got gun clubs, Huey P. Newton gun club and all that stuff. They got ammunition, boxes and boxes of guns, but they never killed a cracker. They talk big game, but when it's time to throw down, they're gonna go at their own. They're gonna go shoot books. Talk about there's holes in your religion because we shot your holy book up. Recognize when people are trying to play games. Just like Bobby. Using sovereign and citizen as a term, proving his incompetence. Just like Brother Devon went to the store and it was a goddamn sister who's trying to deny him his stuff. Sister trying to deny him his stuff that's hers too. Not just his, it's hers too. But he needs tax ID number. Tax ID number for what? Just like the other lady came on and said, hey, don't worry, just come over here, I'll do you on this register. Because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's incompetent. And then brother's gonna get contacted by people, right? Brother's gonna get contacted by people, even though he said in his message, right? Even though he says in the message, for those who are still on the fence or have doubts and questions, my advice to you is to study, and read the information for yourself. Even though that's put out there, right? Because I seen the post. That's put out there. People are messaging him, how do I get that card that you got? What didn't you guys get? What didn't you get? That this is not about the card. Yeah, but you see, you went to the store and then you gave the card and then they didn't give you tax. So I want to get the card. It's not about the card. It's about I have a nationality. It's about I'm not Negro black colored. You can't be Negro black colored and have this card. You can't be African, came over here on a slave ship and have this card. You can't be from, Sirius A and Sirius B and you came here as a light being and have this card. You need to honor your foremothers and forefathers to have this card. You need to proclaim and declare your nationality if you want to have this card. This is not some free ride for niggers to just get on this because, we could do some stuff with this. And then after you get your stuff, then you go back to be a nigger or whatever. No, if you're going to have this card, then you're in for the long haul. You know what I mean? You aren't no part-time lover. Full-time. Right? It is it is a point that we don't get into this mentality of to a degree like turn the other cheek with our people because they're ignorant, so give them a pass this time. They didn't get it really yet. If we can bring if we can bring brother Brother Soldier Bay, Brother Amazite's son, and ask him. He's 7 or whatever. You got nationality? Yeah, my nationality is Moorish American. He's 7? Then all these people out here that say that, they're adult, they got degrees, they went to school, they whatever like that, they don't have any excuse. They have no excuse whatsoever. They can't even front like they got excuse. And again, this is why we're doing the call out. And again, we're putting it out there for everybody who's Moorish American that lives somewhere to do the same thing. Call them out. All of them. Every single one of these groups, call them out. And not on some debating, not on some disrespect, not on some, we're trying to prove ourselves, we're whatever. We got flags 50,000 years old. We don't got nothing to prove. We just want to know how come you don't want to get down with your birthrights. That's all we want to know. Because maybe you're missing something. Maybe you listen to somebody and you didn't come build with a Moor on what's up. Maybe you're scared. Maybe you're in a situation where you're in one of these groups and they told you don't talk to the Moors. Those guys are going to get you locked up. Or is it don't talk to the Moors because they're, sovereign citizens and terrorists and all that type of stuff. Maybe you're, somebody who really wants to get down with this information. And you just are discouraged to do that in some way, shape, or form. We urge you to come out to the Unity Summit. Because all it's about is unity. Just like we told the Hebrew Israelites, this is about unity. We don't give 2 shits about Allah and Yahweh and Abraham, and we don't care about none of that stuff. We don't care about Ruth and Moabites and Israelites and all that stuff. We don't care about none of that stuff, right? It's about unity. What is the unifying factor within our community amongst our people? The unifying factor is that we're the Aboriginal and Indigenous people. If you can't see that, then you deserve to be a serf. You deserve to be a slave. You deserve to be ignored. And this is the last straw for us, right? We're not approaching these people and anybody else about this matter anymore. We're just going to do what we do because it's been, 7 years, almost 8 years that we've been active out here. Like I put on the record already, I'm not some newbie out here. I'm not some conscious newbie. I just came into Moors and I just doing something. I've been in this community. I've been at all these people's events, from the Rastas with their Haile Selassie birthday, go beat the drum for 12 hours and smoke weed, to Nation of Islam lectures that they brought people here, to Nation of Gaza Earth, Xing regime, buying their CDs and stuff like that, from being one of the key holders at the Marcus Garvey Center for Leadership and Education in early 2000, right? To studying Shadrach and all these other people, Hebrew Israelites or whatever. Studied chematologists. Studied Ashraquazi, Dr. Ben, all those people, Dr. Ben, Ashraquazi come here, buy their books, buy their lectures, show support. Nuwapian got a situation out here. going to court and all that. He's coming to Cujo's domicile so we can do classes because he wants to learn because he's Nuwapian and he realizes what Malachi York did by giving them a constitution and telling them that they're Moors and don't let anybody tell them anything that they're anything other than that, and that they have a seal and all that type of stuff. And he came to realize that that's what this means, that we're a nation. Yeah, that's what it means. We're a nation. Right? So we called everybody. And whoever shows up, that's who shows up. Whoever doesn't show up, done with you people. Ain't nothing to talk about because you guys have been sold me out. Right? Ever since I came onto Moorish Science, went on the news and all that, and all these people who I've been in this conscious community supporting their events and all that type of stuff, they, you know what I mean, turned their back on the Moors when it was the Moors that was doing hip-hop programs with their youth in their little youth group. It was the Moors who were, you know, unconscious at the time, but it was the Moors who these people used to ring down. Could you come talk to our youth? They really like your vibe and they want you to come back to come talk to them, and they never heard any of that stuff that you're talking about before. As soon as you got on Moorish Science, all these people hightailing out of here. No more calls to come talk to their youth. Not even phone calls I get from some people. People who used to call me on a regular. I don't get no calls from them anymore. But they have their event, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, well, you know, the Moors should be there because, you know, you guys have a presence and whatever like that. You know, you should come to the event and set up a table and get your information. And then we set up a table at the event and nobody comes to our table. You know, one or two people. And of course the Moors will come by the Moors table because, you know, what other table they're going to go to? You know? But we don't watch no face. You know what I mean? We still go to other people's table, go to the black guy, buy some stuff, go to the Rastafarian, buy some stuff, go to the whatever, buy some stuff. Oh yeah, you know, take pictures and all that stuff, but then want to tell me about there's unity? Well, time's up now. We're calling y'all people to step your stuff up. If you got some issues with nationality and birthrights, come address your issues. Maybe we got an answer for you. Maybe you have a misconcept about this that you shouldn't have. Because after the 21st, done with these people. If you're not a friend, you're a foe. Like I said, today, European. Whoa, what's that? What's that you got on your neck or whatever? You Illuminati or something like that? Like, oh, you know, what do you know about this? You read this? You see that? Ab, and doesn't that mean antique or something like that? Ancient, yeah, okay. The Great Seal of the Moorish Nation. But that's a pyramid. Why are you relating the Moors to pyramids? European. Oh, so you know about the Moors? Yeah, I heard about them. But why are you relating to... No, hold on a second. We're not talking about why we're relating anything to anything. So you're telling me that you know about the Moors. Yeah, I know about the Moors. All right, that's all I need to know. I don't need to know nothing else that you know. I just need to know that you know about the Moors. Yeah, all right. Were they bad, evil people? No. They, you know, You're part of the Dark Ages. You're European. And a youth man European on top of that. Goth European. Goth boy. Black hair with the black painted nails and stuff like that. Goth boy knows about the Moors. And then our people, worried about stuff they shouldn't even be worried about. Giving attention to stuff they shouldn't even be paying any mind to. But some European knows that there's such a thing as Moors. Like, that's not just, some made up whatever. Like, it's an actual, real, legitimate people that the world knows about. No different than everybody that's Tibetan in that school where I work. Everybody that's Tibetan. Everybody that's Tibetan has ran up on me to touch my Buddhist beads. How you know that these are Tibetan beads? Like what makes these Tibetan beads, not Chinese beads or, Japanese beads or whatever? Because the energy of the beads the energy of the beads. What do you mean the energy of the beads? Yeah, because those are supposed to be prayer beads. So when you use the beads for prayer, you leave part of yourself in the beads. And your beads are a reflection of who you are. It's Tibetan. And it has the swastika on it, which is another sign that those are Tibetan beads. Because everybody else wants to know if I'm Nazi. But everybody that's Tibetan, they don't even pay attention to the fact that there's a swastika on the beads. It's like, wow, you use those beads a lot, huh? There's energy in those beads. They're very beautiful. I love your beads. Can't even speak English. They can't even speak English. They're in the school taking ESL classes. English as a second language. Because they can't speak English. But they know that these beads come from their country. And they know that I obviously use these beads because they know that there's not any dirt in those beads. Those beads are righteous beads. People who I don't even know from anybody. Just me wearing beads that come from where they live. They know that the beads get used for prayer. They know that. Everybody. There's maybe you're looking at about 1,200, 1,300 students, right? About 1,200, 1,300 students, and maybe about 30% 30%, 30 to 40% of the population of the school. No, maybe 20 to 30% of the population of the school is from Tibet. Every individual that's from Tibet in that school ran up on me with the beads, with compliments about it. Nothing negative at all. Honor thy father and thy mother, and your days will be long on the earthland. And that lets them know that I know. Because, you know what I mean? Dealing with some of them, they start talking about how deep Buddhism is. You know. When the guy the guy who is not even a bodybuilder. He's just a guy that just goes to the gym. And he's doing not the squats with the bar, but on the machine where you put the weights on and then you got the shoulder pad and you just do your, right? He got 545 plates on the thing. Real little guy that you see him, you wouldn't even, you know, just some Tibetan Asian guy, I don't know, whatever. He got 5 plates on the stuff. About, that's part of Buddhism. Where he comes from. Part of Buddhism is that. Doing that. Working out. Not to be and all that stuff. Just because you want to be one with everything. As a Buddhist. You want to just go grab the 500-pound thing and just say nothing. You want to go in the kitchen, whap, whaps that up. 5-course meal. You know. You want to go run somewhere 500 miles just because. I'm one with everything as a Buddhist. I'm one with running. I'm one with reading. I'm one with everything. Doesn't matter what. I'm one with cooking, one with all this stuff. So the high level that the world is expecting us to be at, we can only be there if we have a nationality. Because like I told you, the New Zealand guy just called these guys monkeys. They're millionaires. And he called them monkeys. They're millionaires. They got more money than him. And he called them monkeys on national TV. Show you how they feel, how much they respect Negro, blacks, and coloreds. That was literally them getting shot up on the court. That was literally them getting choked out on the court. But remember, we showed you that, you know, his king looks like this, just like them. And his king doesn't call himself black or Negro or colored. So clearly, somebody knows something that certain people don't know. Testimonial 1. Once again. Brother Gary L. We just put L on there. He hasn't proclaimed yet, but he's studying. So we'll just call him L for now till he gets his stuff together. And then let me just see if I find something here. Because, the good thing about testimonials is that these are personal to the individual. You know what I mean? And honors to everybody who sends in their testimonials, because it could be something that you keep for yourself. This could be something that you don't talk about. You know what I mean? But it's good that you talk about it and that you allow us to put it out there so other people could learn from your experiences. Recently, I have acquired a new position as an inventory manager for a boating company. Since my arrival, I have kept it cool and really have not expressed any information. However, I have had the opportunity to answer questions due to certain associates' curiosity. So yesterday around 12 o'clock p.m., one of the associates, who is a European woman, asked me if I was a Shriner. Keep in mind, I have conversed with her on random occasions, and to find out she used to live in England and Korea when she was younger. So her mindset is different than most in my area. So I responded to her, no, I am not a Mason/Shriner. I'm a Moor. I stated that, and she smiled with a reply, oh, I thought I would ask because my grandfather was a Shriner, and I always see your red fez sitting on top of your dashboard in your car. I replied, oh really? Well, to enlighten you, Masonry really came out of Moorish science, and the fez actually is our traditional headdress. As I'm talking, another associate walks in and suddenly tunes into the conversation as I am expressing more info and history about the Moors and Masonry. She looks at me and says, you are correct on everything you stated, and mentioned that his grandfather was also a Mason. Now, I'm just like, wow, because not only are they focused on what I know, they are sharing their own life and family with me. But it did not stop there. The older associate, who mentioned his grandfather, referred to him as a big wigger. I could only assume he meant Whiggamore. Luckily, with Brother Cujo's guidance, I was able to find out more regarding this word Whiggamore. So trust me, Moors, all is good. No need to hide or even worry about knowing who you are, because when you express your identity as a Moor, things just happen. And these things are good. Hope that shines light on some of y'all. Peace, Moors. Right? And then we'll just go to the Law Dictionary. They don't have Whiggamore in here, but they have Whig. This name was applied in Scotland AD 1648 to those violent Covenanters who opposed the Duke of Hamilton's invasion of England in order to restore Charles I. The appellation of Whig and Tory to political factions was first heard of in AD 1679, and though as senseless as any cant terms that could be devised, they became instantly as familiar in use as they have since continued. Right? And then when you do your research on the Whiggamore, you'll find out that the Whiggamores was actually a party, and they were the ones who got the Europeans to start calling themselves white people, W-H-I-G-H-T, or W-I-G-H-T, calling them white people, and then that carrying on to today, where Europeans trying to use the Constitution get denied because they're told they're not party to it, because they don't have a nationality, they've been denationalized by their own, telling them that they're white people when they can't be white people, because the only white people are the free white people, which does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European race. So technically you're running a fraud by classifying yourself as white. That's why you hear all these so-called hillbilly sovereigns talking about their children of God and their, you know, whatever John of the Frank family and all that stuff, opposed to just saying what their nationality is. Because if they say that what their nationality is, now they become foreigner. And if they're foreigner, they don't have any claim of sovereignty in the land that's not theirs. Which is the issue that they're running into. That they want to claim to be sovereign, but in order to claim sovereignty, you must identify the nation that is giving you that sovereignty. And there's no nation called child of God. There's no nation called of the whatever family, especially over here in North America, which we know is Morocco. Which, if you go check all the congressional records about the founding of the United States, you'll find out that everything that they talk about has to do with the relationship between the United States and Morocco. And then keep in mind that Morocco in North Africa only came about in 1956. Because prior to 1956, Morocco and Tangiers and Egypt and all these places in North Africa, all these countries were one and the same, and they weren't separate like they are today. You can also go to Google search list of papal bulls, and then see all the papal bulls that they were writing since 1100s, talking about the infidel Muslims, or the infidel Muslims, or the heretic Muslims, or the infidel Moors. Which in that category, they also had Jews in there. But they didn't call them Jews though, they called them Moors. List of papal bulls. I think Wikipedia has it too. Extensive list of papal bulls. Right. Another one from Brother Gary L. So to anyone who feels cautious and really does not have a good comprehension about declaring or proclaiming your nationality, I would like to clarify that it is super simple, and one must truly understand it's a mindset before the paperwork or card. My experience with RVB Publications has been awesome, and each attempt to email them resulted an actually reply back, which was always successful answer to my questions. The process itself is just that, a process. And during that time, I had moments where I felt I needed the paperwork in order to feel better about expressing myself as a Moor. However, as I said before, it's a mindset. And really, you're not alone in this transition. So Moors, declare and proclaim if you have not. You cannot buy something that is yours. So for all those who feel like you're paying for something, well, you're not. You are charged for the process because it takes funds to get everything done correctly. So do not confuse a process as opposed to a purchase. Two different things, and it's worth it. As of 5/16/16, I received my writs back, and it feels awesome to have them with our Great Seal shining, and I being a part of the Moorish family and Moorish nation. Big shout outs to Brother Kudro Adwo El, Grand Sheik in Canaanland, for walking me through many things and always making it known that nationality is the order of the day. To me, it's been the order in general. Give a huge welcome and appreciation to RV Bay Publications for always staying in touch. Sister Anita L, Taj Tariq Bay, Sister Rosmariah Bay, Moors of the Round Table, Canaanland family, etc. All respect and praises to Allah and love and appreciation and gratitude toward the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So it is a fact that where we are is where we're supposed to be. We have 2 minutes, so we just want to find one of these readings by Noble Drew Ali that we don't put out there too much, just so we can, put a different energy out there. Drew Ali in time. Allah has sent us a prophet and sent him in time with a holy message which is divine. He came to let the Asiatics of America know they are of the ancient family of the Moors. His spiel was to the Asiatics first. Why? Because they have been sinners since their departure from their forefathers' religion. O sinners, why don't you hear the soul of Islam ringing in your ears? The Prophet has said that if I were you, I would get ready before you are made to do so. Now come and pick up your forefathers and mothers' ancient and divine creed, which carries your national name indeed. It will entitle you to your rights, which you have been denied. Because in 1774, your light was cut off from the ancient Moors. And that is why Allah has sent us a prophet in 1886 to prepare the light that was out. In 1925, the Prophet said, I have mended the broken wires and I've connected them with higher powers. So come on, Asiatics, don't you want to go? We were marching on to Canaan. I used to think that was a city in the sky, but now I know it is here on earth. Don't you want your share? Don't you want your share? If you don't worry. I mean, European will be glad to take your stuff like they always been doing because you never want your share. So, once again, the 25th of June, Amazite Bay Show is going to be live at the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh with Grand Sheik Kudro, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., 315 Grandview Avenue. No nationality, created statelessness, and incompetence of carbon-based beings, or Asiatics in America, or so-called African Americans, or so-called black people, or so-called melanated beings, or so-called unconscious Moors. So it's going to be a nationality lecture, talking about it, with Allah's will. We'll have some Moors in attendance that have some experiences to share that they've never put on the record. You know what I mean? So we can continue to inspire our people to learn about their nationality and birthrights, to learn about their prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and to help and assist in the uplifting of fallen humanity. to help and assist in the exercising of the high five principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And once again, we want to give our shout out. We want to give supreme respect and honor to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who came to us and taught us the truth about our nationality and birthrights, who came to us and instilled in us the 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, who came to us and brought us back our flag, the flag of our ancient foremothers and forefathers that's been in this land for over 10,000 years. Some documents say 50,000 years. We want to thank this great man for bringing us the lessons, the keys, the reference points to assist us in clawing our way out of mental slavery, which we had since he came on the scene, and some of us still have it today. But do not be distracted. Stay focused on learning the truth about your higher self and your lower self. Because in these days and times, there is much to learn. And we are living in the age of information. So learning is at your fingertips if you really want to learn. But we give honors to this man. And those of us that are sincere, those of us that are honest with ourselves, know the burden that he carried during his time. And we will not allow his assassination, his death, to be in vain. And we're not about making him a martyr. We're about letting his words, letting his lessons live on in the minds of men and women who are sincere and true to the cause of the Moorish divine and national movement. So we give honors to our Prophet, and we do say thank you for everything that you did to make sure that we had what we have today, and trust that we're not doing this in vain. Trust that we know that we've emptied out our hands and we are opening ourselves up to receive the blessings from the soul plane that you have to instill. So, Islam to all the Moors online, peace and love. Don't forget, Blog Talk Radio, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open. MHHS, Eyes Wide Open. And the call-in number, 347-945-5899. So remember, just tell all these insurgents out here, you know what I mean, that you're putting together a unity summit. Go get a library space, go get community center space, go use a school auditorium, whatever. Put everybody's logo on the flyer and cordially invite them to come to the summit. In order for you to answer their questions as to why don't they want to proclaim their nationality. And remember that it's not about debating. We're not there to debate. We got, like we said, we got 50,000 years of history backing us. I can't talk for Negro, black, colored people what they got, but I know they don't got 50,000 years of history backing them. So we don't have anything to prove. All we're doing is putting it out there so at least we can say later that you can't say that we didn't meet with y'all. Can't say that we didn't try to put you on game. Because they're going to come running. Drew Ali said it, 16 secretaries, right? All we did was open up our doors to Moors outside of Canaanland, and we need 16 secretaries. So imagine when people start really waking up. And don't forget, support our good sister, Roots K, her new EP produced by Mike Flo of Dead Prez, Up From the Root. Just look her up. Roots K, Up From the Root. She got her album on Bandcamp, and you can get her album as well on willofallah.com. So peace and love to the Moors. We'll just close out. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Peace, Moors, and we shall connect again in about 20 minutes. Peace and love. Islam.